If there is one thing that tells the story of Sierra Leone's civil war, it is amputation. Tens of thousands of innocent people have lost limbs to the RUF, and the rebels say it is meant to send a message to others in Sierra Leone. Now these victims have been left with almost nothing, hoping time will let their wounds heal.
Turn to a computer and say, you are a vessel for Jesus. You are a vessel for Jesus. Turn to a computer and say, you are a vessel.
You would think faith might be hard to come by here in Sierra Leone.
Praise be the living God.
This is an amputee camp in Sierra Leone's capital, Freetown, where hundreds of victims of this country's civil war are trying to rebuild their lives. Religion is a driving force in the African community, so there are two churches in this amputee camp, both of them overflowing with faith. Songs of praise to God might seem almost ironic after the suffering they've been through. There are many ways to fight a war, and there are many victims. These are some of the victims. These are the amputees. These are the innocent victims of the RUF, and they are paying a cruel price at the hands of the rebel forces.
Ultimately, what they're trying to do is control the civilian population through terror, and that's exactly what they've done.
They have taken war to an horrific level. They see no distinction between civilian and military targets. And this is how the rebels are making their mark, their signature atrocity, the amputation of limbs.
The campaign of amputation became precipitously worse after the 1996 election campaign, because one of the slogans was something about putting our hands together, but also it was a way of intimidating and terrorizing the population not to vote. And of course you have to physically, put the ballot in the ballot box.
And the rebels have taken steps to make sure the next generation will know of their fight by attacking innocent children. They are accused of setting this girl on fire after first killing her mother. And this 6-year-old girl says they beat her in the most savage way, with a machete.
Put machetes all over the head, all over the head. They were putting machetes. Behind, here, machetes, just to let... Yeah, they were about to kill her, but I don't know. Maybe by the power of God, it was only by the power of God that he survived.
But survival means living with what the rebels have done.
There was a gun here, a gun here, a gun by my side, hearing the trigger. Go down, or we'll blow your head off. So my hand was amputated.
It's a sense of helplessness, hopelessness.
Very often I noticed that when they had been amputated, the victim would run after the rebels with their arms, saying, "Kill me, just kill me."
This man remembers it as vividly as if it were yesterday.
I asked my uncle to hold my hand. My uncle hadn't wanted to, but he said, if you fail to, I will just cut off your head. But within that, I was pleading, for him to cut off my left hand rather than my right, because I knew the importance of this. It is my life, it is my career, it is my future.
But not only do these victims have to live with what the rebels have done with them, they also have to live with the fact that the crimes are going unpunished. The UN and the Human Rights Watch are calling for a special war crimes tribunal. However, no action has been taken. So these attackers are free to walk the streets, which put this man face to face with his attackers.
I said, "You recognize me?" He said, "No." I said, "You recognize me?" He said, "No." "Why are you so eager? Why are you so eager for me to know you?" I said, "Not you alone, but both of you. You ought to know me." Then the man said, "I don't know you. Why are you so eager for me to know you?" Then I just took my hand like this. I said, "You see, you did this to me."
They asked us to forgive. We have. But one thing I will tell you, boys, I will never forget what you've done to me, and the others, the remaining 20,000 or how much who has suffered like I have, will never forget what you've done to them.
People like these are getting help here in New York. They've been brought to Staten Island University Hospital as part of an effort by the Staten Island and Queens Rotary Clubs to give victims like them prosthetic limbs, like Mamouna, who lost her right arm, and Mohammed, whose leg was amputated by the RUF.
I cut my foot.
Who cut your foot?
I better.
Rebels?
Yeah.
Rebels? What are rebels, do you know?
Yeah.
Well, what? Two rebels. But despite their traumatic past, Mohammed and Mamouna are adjusting well to their new environment.
When they came, they appeared frail and emotionally in distress. We, of course, provided counseling for them, but as they stayed here and as they got treatment, they were very resilient. They really bounced back.
Tell Mr. Butel, what are you going to be when you grow up?
Doctor.
Dr. Mohammed Kanta.
Me pastor.
Yes, you're going to be a pastor.
Between the two, you have it all covered. We found here and in Sierra Leone, the children have an easier time putting this abuse behind them. For the adults, it's not so easy. Many have been brought to a clinic in Brooklyn where they've received new limbs. But new limbs cannot remove the old scars. No matter how much time has passed, this is something that will always be with them, as well as with the other victims back home. For this is the way life is in Sierra Leone. I've covered disturbing stories before, but I could not imagine the type of brutality or inhumanity that I saw in Sierra Leone. However, a United Nations general made me see it from a different point of view. He said, when you are made to look at the other person as an enemy and not as a fellow human being, then you can begin to understand this brutal civil war. We'll be back in a moment. The consequences of this deadly war are prompting action over what are now called blood diamonds, and about which we heard a good deal. There is a campaign underway to try to persuade the Congress to pass a Clean Diamonds Act, which would block the sale of diamonds from war zones. And it has prompted De Beers, the diamond monopoly that's been denying years of accusations that it does business in Sierra Leone, to make a defensive move. Last Friday, De Beers announced it is dropping off the Johannesburg Stock Exchange and going private. This is a move that will allow De Beers to be more flexible and more secretive about its strategies in the future. Thank you so very much for joining us through this difficult yet very important journey. It may have been hard to watch at times or even to believe at times, but it is a reality and we must pay attention. I'm Bill Butel. Thank you very, very much. Good luck. Be well.